Welcome to Spirit Club, a podcast and community where we talk about what's really running the show, your inner world. I'm Angel, your host, your guide, and your spiritual bestie. Around here, we're all about doing the inner work because your outer reality is only ever a reflection of what's going on within. We practice radical ownership, freedom in faith, surrendering our path to God, and trusting our intuition like our lives depend on it. Because honestly, they do. So take a breath, open your heart, and let's dive in. Hey, Spirit Club. Welcome to a solo episode. I love solo episodes. I have been really enjoying meeting new guests, meeting new people, but really craving one of these types of episodes. And so the topic we're going to talk about today is what you are meant to be doing in this lifetime. And I want to talk about this because, as I've talked about, this community really knows that they're meant for more. And so something that naturally rolls out of that is, what am I meant to doing? What am I meant to do in this lifetime? What am I meant to be doing? And as a lifelong seeker of that, I want to talk about it today. And I'm going to share the things that I've learned and also in communication with Spirit about it. So when we talk about what we're meant to be doing in this lifetime, what we're really talking about is our gifts. Our gifts, our innate, natural gifts. And why do these relate to what we're meant to be doing? Because there is nothing more you than your gift. Therefore, it is sort of something that you were contracted with to come into this lifetime, and it will therefore support whatever it is that you are doing. So I hope that makes sense. So most of our discussion today is going to be about your gifts. And I know you're sitting there going, I don't have any gifts. Well, wait, hold up. So I don't know about you guys, but I have always wanted to be gifted, to be this special talent. And when I was younger, I tried to find it in these like conventional places, like being an A student, or I played classical piano. I tried to find it there. Being a professional dancer, I tried to find it there. And ultimately, truth be told, I was not talented at those things. I was not naturally gifted at piano, at dance. And I learned that somewhere along the way. And then I realized, okay, well, I've tried to find it. Turns out I don't have any gifts. Instead, I'm just going to work really hard. And so I can remember, for example, with dance, I remember I would get through the audition. So say for a Nutcracker contract, I'd get through the audition and I would get cast in the corps de ballet, which is like the lowest on the totem pole that you can get cast in. And the talented dancers, they would have the more interesting roles, obviously. But what I noticed was some of the talented dancers, they took their talent for granted and they didn't work so hard and they didn't devote themselves the way that I was. So I would be there grinding, working really hard. And then one day, it happened every season. One day, one of those dancers would get injured, be late too often, not be able to remember choreography, whatever it was, and I would get plucked and I would get the role. Not because I was naturally talented as a dancer, but because I was hardworking. And so what I've come to learn amongst my many talents, hard work, focus, discipline is one of them. Anyways, I digress. So when I communed with Spirit about talent, about gifts, it was brought to my attention that we have a major misunderstanding around gifts. We seem to believe that some people have gifts and others don't. Some people are born gifted and others are not. And it's kind of not our fault. This was sort of the way we were raised. You know, some kids are special and others are not, you know? And we also have always looked at talent to be something like something you can really point to, something you can target, something conventional, like in sports, in the arts, in studies. And the funny thing is that while, let's say, a dancer may be talented at dance, their actual innate gift is probably not dance. It is, it could be being able to interpret emotion in through the body. It could be being able to evoke emotion from others. It could be being able to understand specific rules and angles, whatever it could be. That is the more broad gift. So what am I getting at here? Major misunderstanding around gifts. Number one, that some people have them and others don't. It's not true. We are all born gifted. We are all naturally gifted. We all have gifts, okay? And the second misunderstanding, that gifts are sort of only found in these conventional places, that is why our gifts have been overlooked. Because when we don't see them in those conventional places, we think, oh, I'm not gifted. I don't have gifts. When in fact, you do. And I know you're listening and you're like, Angel, no, I don't. Well, it's just that you haven't developed them. Like, do you think this kid who's like a great hockey player would have known he was a great hockey player if he never played hockey? No, he developed it. He followed his heart or some sort of desire and found hockey and was developed. So whatever your gifts are, they just haven't been developed. You haven't put attention into them. You haven't dedicated portions of your life to them. And maybe you have, and they're just going overlooked. Okay. So we will go there. So again, misunderstanding is that some have them and some don't. No, we all do. And that gifts are associated with these conventional things when in fact they are not limited to that. In fact, gifts, our innate gifts, are way more broad than limited to these things that we can point at. And the fact that they are so broad is what allows us to apply them in different ways throughout life. You know, when you discover your gift, when you uncover your gift, you'll probably find that you have been using it throughout life. You may not have been using it in the way that aligns best, but you have been. So long as you're on board with me that you indeed have innate gifts, I'm sure you're wondering, how do I find these gifts? How do I find them and how do I develop them? You find them by following the calls of your heart. So until now, when you try to figure out what you're meant to be doing, you are likely using the mind. You are likely thinking, analyzing, and the mind only knows what it knows so far, okay? So what you're meant to be doing is outside of your current reality, and therefore you can't use the mind because the mind only knows your current and past realities. It doesn't know other realities. It doesn't know the reality of you doing what you're meant to be doing. Okay, so you can't be following shoulds, the smart thing to do, the right thing to do, though that is a language of the mind. And until now, you've probably been doing more of that than anything else, which is why you haven't uncovered or developed your gifts. In order to do that, we must follow the calls of the heart. The heart can lead us to places that are beyond the reality of the mind. The heart can lead us to new territory that the mind doesn't know about yet. So why follow the heart? Okay. What I want to say is you must follow the heart, but not just one time. Okay. Because you might be thinking like, oh, I took a chance once and I followed the heart and I didn't figure out what I was meant to be doing. No. It's not so direct. Okay. Following the heart is like picking up on clues, and one clue leads to the next clue, leads to the next clue, and they're not in some logical order or succession, you know? So for example, you may be thinking, oh, following the call of my heart is like, I feel called to nursing, so I will go to nursing school and become a nurse. And no, it's not so simple. Because we have all quieted the voice of our heart for so long, there's a lot more, there's a longer journey associated with it. So it might be more like, I feel called to start painting. You start painting. I feel called to share with my family some truth I've been holding back. You share that truth. I feel called to listen to these podcasts. You know what I mean? It's like, you just start to follow clues, clue after clue after clue. And these clues are taking you to what you are meant to do. And I just want to be careful that it's not a destination, right? Like we all know that here. What you are meant to be doing is simply following those calls, being on that journey of following the calls of the heart will have you developing your talents and using your talents. That's just the natural way of it. So I just want to be careful that it's not like, oh, do A, B, C, D, E, and I land at the destination of what I'm meant to be doing. No, what you're meant to be doing is a journey. But this is how you get on that journey and on that path. And the other thing about following calls of the heart consistently, over and over and over, like it is your default, is that the more you do it, the more your heart knows it can trust you. I don't know that that's quite how I want to say it, but it's like if you consistently shut down the heart, put the heart's calls aside, suppress, not trust the heart, if you consistently do that, do you think your heart is going to be sending you messages? Do you think your heart's going to be speaking clearly? No, because you haven't been trusting the heart. So you kind of create that trust and that voice gets louder and louder and more clear. So that's why we need to do it consistently. All right. Now, you know we love the practical here at Spirit Club. So the question that I know you're thinking is like, how do I know? Okay, you want me to start following the calls of my heart. How do I know if something's a call of my heart? What is the language of the heart? So I'm pretty sure we've gone over this at some point on Spirit Club, but let's tap in on this again. So 3 kind of voices that you can use or language that the heart uses to indicate that something is a call of the heart. The first one is curiosity. Curiosity. How simple. How simple, but how often has it happened to you that you feel curious about something and then you shelve it? Or you just like totally pass it by. You're like, ooh, I'm interested in that. Oh, I have more important things to do. Happens all the time. Okay, it happens all the time. And that is the heart speaking up. That is the heart speaking to you. So I want you to open up your phone, create a list called Calls of the Heart, and every time you feel curious about something, at least just jot it down. Jot it down in this list, because then maybe you are in the middle of something and you can't address that curiosity at the moment, but you're going to be collecting them, and then you can start to listen to those curiosities and follow them. Okay, so curiosity is the first way the heart speaks to us. Another way is envy or jealousy. I know that we often look at jealousy like it's a bad thing, but I have reframed it over the years. And when I feel envy or jealousy, I'm like, it's like my ears perk up and they're like, oh, here's a clue. Here's a clue of a direction that you want to go in. This is a call of your heart. So again, I want you to sit right now and think, who do I envy? Who do I feel jealous of? Maybe you need to open up Instagram and scroll a little bit and then sit with and ask yourself the question, why? What about their life or who they are or how they're showing up is making me feel jealous? And the answer to that is going to give you more clues that you can put in that calls of the heart list on your phone. Okay, and last one that we'll talk about today, so simple and so overlooked, is joy. When you are feeling really good doing something, when you are like lit up, time doesn't matter, you're in a flow state, you're inspired, you're having fun, you're feeling good, this is your heart speaking to you. It couldn't be, those are all obvious emotions and languages of the heart. So if you're doing something, you're like, I feel amazing, this feels so great, I love this, or even some version of that, it doesn't have to be that ecstatic, this is a sign. This is your heart talking to you. I know it seems like, it makes me laugh because it's so obvious, but it's so overlooked. Like, we are so often like, oh, I need a sign from my guides, show me 1111. How about I just had a really great time doing that thing? How about that as a sign? Okay, so those are 3 places you can start with to listen to your heart and to start creating that list of calls of the heart. And then what do you got to do? You got to start following them. You've got to start following them. And listen, let's say, I don't know, let's say one of your calls of the heart is tarot, okay? It does not mean, I want to be really clear, this does not mean you must become a tarot reader. Okay, you don't need to take it to the end. You don't need to take it so far. What you need to do is follow the curiosity. And when the curiosity ends, you can stop following it. It's okay. So say you start learning about tarot, you start pulling cards for yourself, and one day you're pulling cards and you get this aha moment. This is how it works. This is how the next clue is revealed. Okay? So just know following the calls of the heart is really about honoring your heart. It is not about taking it to some end objective. Okay? Okay, so what I just lined out, I'm sure you're listening, you're going, Angel, that sounds long. I'm getting old. I need to know what I'm meant to do, what I'm meant to be doing now. And I mean, you've probably been ignoring your heart for so long that it will take time. But I'll give you some shortcuts, okay? I'm looking out for you. So I'll give you some shortcuts that should give you like a kind of a foundation for your gifts. Like, it gives you an understanding, a broad understanding of your gifts. And then as you follow your calls of the heart, you'll see that they align within that more and more. It's really cool. Okay. So here are your 3 shortcuts to your gifts. Number 1, your charts, your birth charts. Okay. Your astrology chart, your human design, your gene codes, all the above, whichever ones you know of. Okay. So here's what you can do. You can pull up all those charts, you can plop them in ChatGPT, and you can say, Chat, act like you're a professional reader and pretend you don't know me, and look at these charts and tell me, what are my natural gifts and what am I meant to do in this lifetime? It's amazing, okay? So that's a little shortcut. And when you get those answers, again, it's just going to help, like, it gives you like kind of guideposts. As you follow the calls of your heart, you'll be like, oh yeah, this all really comes together, you know? Okay, second shortcut is your inner child. So you can sit with your inner child in meditation. In fact, I created a guided meditation / subconscious reprogramming around this concept, around gifts. You can find it on my YouTube channel. It's called Reclaim Your Innate Gifts. We'll link it in the show notes. But you can sit with your inner child and you can talk to your inner child about what her gifts are, because when you were a child is when you were probably owning your gifts the most, when you were in your gifts. And it also is likely the time at which you set them aside at some point. So you can chat with your inner child, or If you don't want to go do this in meditation, you can simply reflect back to, what did I love doing as a child? And if you don't remember, ask your parents, what did I love doing? What was I known for as a child? What were my natural gifts? There's a lot that your inner child has to reveal to you around your gifts. Okay, and third shortcut to your gifts is your people. Like choose 3 people who love you, know you, are close to you, and ask them if they can send you what they believe your gifts to be. What do they believe you bring to this world that is natural and unique to you? And after you do these 3 shortcuts and you pull these 3 together, I bet you're going to find a lot of overlap, a lot. And this will give you that foundation to start with. So that's it. This is the groundwork. This is the journey to find what you're meant to be doing. And like I said, it is a journey. And once you're in the journey, that's kind of where you want to be. You know, there's going to be no end to it. Take me, for example. I only started following the calls of my heart in 2018. And it started with health and nutrition. I got obsessed with health and nutrition. And then it moved to entrepreneurship. I started a business as a health coach. And then it moved to subconscious reprogramming. Did a lot of that on myself. Then A Course in Miracles. Then intuition, discovering my intuitive gifts, starting a spiritual business, starting a podcast, moving to Greece. You know, these are not linear. This is not like obvious the way these things connect, but they reveal themselves as they go. And right now I am doing the same. You know, I have on my phone in my ChatGPT this note that I sometimes go back to of all my charts and of my, like, the work that would best suit me in this lifetime. And right now I'm walking down a path that, like, I don't know the destination, but I feel very called, both by my heart and called by God to walk down. And this is it. Like, and so as much as I'm not in the destination, I don't even totally know what it is, I feel like I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. That's it. And I know what you're looking for. So. Okay, so that's it for today. Couple of reminders. If you are enjoying this podcast and you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. Spotify, please follow, all that sort of thing. If you've got friends who know that they're meant for more, please share. We would love that. And if you would like to do some subconscious reprogramming work around your gifts, there is that guided meditation on my YouTube channel. Okay, thanks guys. Till next time.